scent checking this, or maybe even visually checking it. It's pretty open. So here I am. I'm pretty much as far into this property as I can get. I've never stepped foot in here, and I've been hunting in this general area a long time, and I'm as far as you can go, remote as it gets. Private's about 50 yards that way, and it's just about 100 yards, maybe 200. There's some houses, so it's a big unbroken block of timber. And walking out, I seen this. I was like, oh, scrape. It's a bed. I don't think it's a scrape because it's too low, but I do believe it's a buck bedded because I have a bunch of these little limbs broken off. Got some headgear when he's sitting there moving around, getting caught. You got belly hair. And as I'm sitting there looking at it, I look up. I was like, oh, that's a scrape. Pretty big scrape. Coming up about 3 foot high. There's all kinds of acorns here. Red oaks, white oaks. I mean, they're definitely feeding in here. But as you can tell, this definitely looks like a scrape, right? Lone tree. But same thing. Hair everywhere, all kinds of belly hair. So this buck is actually bedding in this scrape. So there's 2 bucks here bedded. This is probably the bigger guy, and that's just probably a little buddy down there hanging out. And about 30 yards, not even 20 yards that way, I can see a bunch of balloons. I walked up, balloons were in a tree, kind of caught my eye. Came down here, found a bunch of bedding. I was like, cool, doe bedding. In the swamps, some bedding on the in the swamp, you know, the base of the trees and the moss. And then I come up to this, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe this is buck bedding. Maybe this is a couple of bucks that have yarded up, so to speak, and bedding down in here. You have obviously a big thermal pool because all those balloons, but it's just neat finding bucks bedding in scrapes. My buddy Clint, he's got some video of bucks bedding down in scrapes during the rut, and I don't know, it's just strange to me that they would do it late season, but I guess good bedding is good bedding. You know, you got slight rise. There's like a kind of a point that comes down into the swamp. There's definitely a lot of thermal pool here, and I did find some hair up in here, so they are still using this, you know, all kinds of hair. So it's pretty rad finding these little spots and how bucks and deer use bedding. I'd love to get back in here. There's all that bedding that's down in the swamp. There's all kinds of rubs, and there's 0 human sign. I mean, I don't even know how I get in here, like parachute in from, you know, 1,000 feet maybe, I don't know. But there's big rubs, massive scrape, bucks bedded in scrapes, big tracks, balloons, everything that a buck needs to survive. And they're eating everywhere. So maybe they're bedding here because of the food. There's acorn caps everywhere, you know. There's a few red oaks scattered around, pin oaks, actually all kinds of oak trees. Looks like might be a red oak right there. So I got bedding, definite buck bedding, big tracks, bedding in a scrape. I mean, those big tall branches. Food, beds, balloons. I'm gonna do a quick little grit search, look for some antlers. Well, we know how that's gonna work out for me. But hey, you never know. Maybe I'll find one. Since since I am where they're feeding, I found some beds, so maybe we get lucky. Big woods buck bedding. It's pretty cool. I don't really find a lot of bedding like this very often, like well-defined beds. especially this one down here. That's definitely a well-defined bed. High knob on the swamp. So good stuff. You find out where they're bedding. Find out where they're sleeping. That's the first step into trying to get an arrow on one. You know what I mean?